Now going over to the culture part of the podcast, we have Elon tweeting Disney's leak of racist and sexist policies. Now, Elon said, quote, "This is an anonymous source that just sent me this from Disney. It's mandatory institutionalized racism and sexism," unquote. And this is Disney's large chart, and it says Disney's entertainment company, Disney General Entertainment Content Inclusion Standards. It looks like there's standard A, B, C, D. And geez Louise, there are many details. So we'll break them down right now. Standard A, on-screen representation. At least 3 of the following 5 areas need to be met to fulfill Standard A. Now, Standard A is A1. Characters, 50% or more of regular and reoccurring written characters come from underrepresented groups. A2, not the sauce, actors, 50% or more of the following recurring actors from underrepresented groups. A3, secondary characters, meaning meaningful inclusion and underrepresented groups as secondary or minor on-screen individuals, including background actors. A4, series premise, meaningful integration of underrepresented groups in overall themes and narratives. A5, episodic storytelling, ongoing, meaningful, and integration of underrepresented groups in episodic themes and narratives, unquote. I should write to Disney. I have yet to see them a story about my family coming from Cuba on an aeroplane. Although some might pejoratively say we swam here. Some do. But, not to brag, but we got one of the last planes out when Fidel took over and destroyed the country. And yet some moronic, mentally vacuous Americans still want communism and dictators. Nevertheless, that is Standard A. Standard B is creative leadership. At least 3 of the following 6 areas need to be met to fulfill Standard B. So Standard B consists of B1, 50% or more of producer and above on writing staff, and 50% or more of co-producer and below on writing staff come from underrepresented groups, unquote. B2, 50% or more of episodic directors come from underrepresented groups. B3, casting director is from an underrepresented group or has not been previously worked with a DGE show on the road. B4, meaningful representation of underrepresented group in senior creative leadership. B5, promotion of a member of a underrepresented group into a role that constitutes career progression for at least one member of the writing staff. B6, substantial year-over-year increase in the members of underrepresented groups as directors and writing staff, unquote. So that is Standard B of the Standard ABC. I guess A, B, C, D is kind of cliche. Everyone knows them. Well, public schools, not so much these days. Private schools know their ABCs many times. So I guess it makes sense they're using the ABCs. Now they have Standard C, below the line. At least 2 of the following 5 areas must be met to fulfill Standard C. And geez Louise, I would hate working there. Just think of the logistics. And these are so many rules. I mean, morally vacuous, obviously, because you're discriminating people based on, things they can't directly control. But also logistically, geez Louise, that's a lot of rules. Now, Standard C, they say, quote, C1, 50% or more of the line producer and or production department heads, i.e. DP, composer, costume designer, editor, production designer, music supervisor, come from an underrepresented group. C2, 50% or more of the key roles, any mid-level crew and technical positions come from underrepresented groups. C3, 50% or more of overall crew or projection staff come from underrepresented groups. C4, not explosive, actually quite boring. C4, promotion of a member of an underrepresented group into a role that constitutes career progression for at least one crew/team member. C5, hiring a line producer and or production department head who has not been previously employed in that role on a DGE show. We're almost there, folks. Those are all of the Standard C. Now we go to Standard D, industry access and career development. At least 3 of the following 6 areas must be met in order to fulfill Standard D. D1. Well, zoom in a little bit. There's so much context here. You got to zoom in. It's almost dictionary length. Or the source. They say, quote, D1. Paid employment opportunities such as apprenticeships, internships, expert advisors to facilitate union eligibility for members of underrepresented groups. CPDIA program qualifies. D2, training opportunities and or skills development, craft creation business, including one-off work experience opportunities for students from underrepresented groups to be coordinated through the current executive and corporate social responsibility. D3, first job for a member of underrepresented group in a role that constitutes career progression from prior training staff from CTDI, writing, or director program qualifies. D4, 50% or more of outside vendors or contractors employed by production provide industry access or opportunities to members underrepresented groups as defined as D1 through D3. This is more complex than some legal documents, I swear. D4, 50% or more of outside... Oh no, I just read that. D5, apologies. D5, producer or department head participation in DGE Talent Development Initiative, Guide, or other approved mentorship program. Participate as a panelist presenter at a CTDI event. Qualifies. Mentorship will be vetted by current executive, unquote. D6, producer develops, executes a show-specific D&I program subject to network approval. That was a lot. Now, they do have some additional content on the bottom of it. They say context is critical when evaluating if a group is, quote, underrepresented. Anyone involved in the hiring decisions is prohibited from asking candidates and talent about their actual race or perceived race, religion. Oh, let's see. Oh, come on. Oh, come on, Twitter. Oh, X. Let's see. I have that logo in front of it. Oh, god dang it. Let's see here. Yeah, anyone involved in the hiring decision is prohibited from asking candidates and talent their actual or perceived race, religion, color, sexual orientation, gender identity, military or veteran status, age, disability, and any other legally protected categories, unquote. So that's the legal disclaimer. How do you achieve the outcomes they want without having that data? It's highly improbable unless you have everyone show up and then you discriminate. I mean, how does that work? So they have these goals. And then at the very bottom they said, oh yeah, by the way, you're not allowed to ask candidates about this. So I don't know how they plan to legally achieve this goal. I don't think the shareholders are going to appreciate it. And again, it's also federally illegal to discriminate against someone based on things they cannot control, such as gender, race, religion. So again, how will they go about achieving this? They have this framework. They have standards A, B, C, and D. And how many is that total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. So 5, that's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22 bullet points. Imagine you have to make a product and you have 22 bullet points, 22 little intrinsic things you have to follow, or little nuances you need to follow. That's more complex than an RFP or a request for price for some government contracts out there these days. And again, you're technically not allowed to do some of these things. So I have no idea how they're actually going to achieve this goal. Now, as youth might say, it went viral to say the least. They got, again, within these statistics were written down 24 hours after the post. It got 38.8 million views and 127,000 likes. And again, I can't fathom how do you achieve those metrics without breaking the law and just asking for the person's race? Are you guessing based on the name, or they're looking it up on social media? Because again, they want to hit these goals. I mean, I guess if you're casting someone in a role in a movie, you're going to see them face to face, but you just can't tell them to their face, okay, you're not getting this because you're a white guy or a white woman. And then they're saying context is critical when evaluating. I like how they actually don't technically tell you what they consider underrepresented as well. Which again, if you're a casting director, if you work there, is even more complex because they're not clarifying anything. Because I also suspect if they were to do that, it also make it even more ripe for lawsuits, which I suspect this will entail. So let's go to the comments. Perhaps I'm alone in this assessment. Perhaps everyone agrees and it's a great idea, and the ends justifies the means, which has been written and said before. Now, the first comment comes from Libs of TikTok, and she says, quote, Elon, can you buy Disney and fix it, unquote, getting 27,000 likes. Elon Musk replied with an emoji, a thinking emoji, such as that. They got 38,000 likes, which, again, I only actually, maybe he can fix it. The odds are so slim. He has to basically fire everyone and buy new, get new talent that, doesn't want to make political affiliated, sexual oriented children materials, which Disney laid off those people a long time ago. Going to other comments, you say, let's see here. Ashley St. Clair says, quote, throwback to when Disney's Carrie Butch said, as a mother of one transgender child and one pansexual child, she wants many, many, many LGBTQIA characters and in our stories, and wants 50% of her characters to be LGBTQIA and minorities. And there's actually the video of her saying that, getting 5.9 thousand likes. And Elon Musk replied saying, quote, don't bring your kids up in LA. I'm quote, getting 8.7 thousand likes, which, yeah, especially San Francisco, the crime is so rampant as well. There are a myriad of reasons why you would not want to raise your child in Los Angeles or San Francisco or many cities these days. But also, I wouldn't give them access to the internet or most modern entertainment materials either. Much, much better to go with old-fashioned thing. Some people might know what it is, called a book. But that's just me. The hottest wake-up says, quote, you should see the Forest Service's new hiring policy plans, unquote, getting 2.7 thousand likes. Elon Musk replied with a question mark. I got 2.7 thousand likes as well. And actually, the wake-up, they go to the website for the federal government, gives you a PDF. Wow. So the U.S. forest system has a pamphlet that says Advanced Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility. And it's a picture of a lot of women, one flamboyant man in forest gear. Which, again, I'd be fascinated to see the statistics and the data, how many women are applying for those roles organically or in general. But yeah, even the Forest Preserve is pushing this ideology. And Elon Musk replied again saying, whoa, got 2.3 thousand likes. Going back that. Adam Lewis says, quote, we're going to have to sue the U.S. government for racial discrimination by their DEI programs. If you're white or Asian and working for the government and there's a DEI program in your department, I recommend you suing for millions and retire early with your mansion and Tesla, unquote. 806 likes went up before our very eyes. Let's see here. Wow. The Rabbit Hole replied with a comic strip saying Disney Logic and is a blue-haired, short, well, I shouldn't have to say that's kind of redundant, but short blue-haired woman sitting in an empty movie theater. And she looks around and she says, really? No one came to the diversity seminar? And then she's angrily typing on her laptop saying, do people not care? In all caps. And the picture of the screen is Marvel Studios, Marvel Studios, The Marvels. I got 11,000 likes, which is probably more people that actually went out and paid for the Marvels. Kidding. Just a little bit. They did lose a lot of money on that movie, and it was one of the worst. It's actually the worst movie, I believe, in Marvel history, including worse than the critically acclaimed, or the critically critiqued, I forget the vernacular, the Hulk movie. It is that bad. They got 11,000 likes, so. Do one or two more comments here. Let's see. Paul Zazupa says, quote, this is the Disney stock. Any guesses when they went broke? And it looks like past, since, I believe, it goes back to 2018 about. And it's not terrible. It's not great. The stock is down 12.22%. And yeah, I believe, was it a 30-year low that the stock was recently trading at? It's not great. That did get 2.3 thousand likes. You have Luke Zaleski reaching out. Let's see here. And he is not our favorite contrarian, but he's a contrarian or someone who's politically far left that I follow on X Twitter. Because, again, more data the better. And I always think life's more interesting when you have many ideals. Or, more accurately, have many comments. Now, Luke Zaleski says, quote, seriously, folks, what a beat. Think, what will Elon do? What is worth $44 billion? Why is he suddenly pretending to be a journalist and a centrist while droning about the, quote, woke mind virus and platforming right-wing psychos and playing footsies with conspiracy theories, unquote. That did get 1,000 likes. So again, not everyone is agreeing with its original statements. I subsequently think many will. Let's see here. Luke Zaleski also responded saying, LOL. And apparently there's someone by the name of Kim Masters. And she just said, quote, I guess the secret source read the Hollywood Reporter in 2020 when this was published. That got 232 likes. Wow, ZNO says, quote, never forget what Disney has become. And instead of the iconic, the typeface or the written out word of Disney, it's the iconic castle with the star going over the castle, and it says, in the same font, groomers. I got 2.2 thousand likes. Ollie, London, says, quote, so crazy. Imagine if they hired people based on actual talent and skills rather than focusing on ethnicity group or where they come from. Maybe then they could actually produce good movies again. Unquote. They got 3.4 thousand likes. Matthew Yaglasis says, quote, was your anonymous source the article from Variety a few years ago? Unquote. They got 2.9 thousand likes. So a couple people are critiquing Elon. I don't think this is I don't think he's the original source of this data. Perhaps someone in Disney, it looks like the data came out a couple years ago. I guess someone in the Disney decided to forward it to Elon. Let's see here. Carolyn Borowski says, quote, the four goals of the woke left are always the same. 1, gain in as much power as possible. 2, destabilize the system. 3, attack capitalism. 4, usher in their Marxist utopia. And that got 2.1 thousand likes. 5 times August says, quote, let Disney die. It's time for them to go. Unquote, getting 3.4 thousand likes. And as I scroll down, still overwhelming majority supporting for Elon. A couple people critiquing him. Let's see. So it'll be interesting. A lot of people saying Elon should buy it. I'm not sure if it's really worth saving at this point. Again, he'd have to fire a majority of the staff. He'd have to rebuild the business. It's possible. Don't get me wrong. And culture is important. Again, I'm not sure if Elon can clone himself. He seemingly has magical technologies, but I don't think it's probable that he's going to purchase the company. If anyone could turn it around, I think he could do it. Again, it would be a long overhaul, and you would have to basically purge a majority of the employees, especially the writers department. Because again, we've had many leaked videos of them being bombastically happy and actually applauding their efforts to insert sexual content and insert non-child appropriate themes into child films and child animations. So you'd have to get rid of them if you want to be apolitical. You want to remove the controversy around Disney, which again, that is one of the reasons I believe they're losing so many sales. I mean, they lost over $1 billion, near $2 billion in 2023 in movies, from a company that used to basically print money. It used to be the blue chip stock. You knew you weren't going to get one of those stocks where you knew you weren't going to get rich overnight with that stock, but you knew over time it was a consistent way it was going to increase and build value. And yet now, not so much. So it'll be interesting to see, what actually happens with this at the end of the day. But let's just say I don't think there's sales at Disney. We're not going to get better anytime soon. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of February. So if you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, and sharing also does help with the magical YouTube algorithm. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.